It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast on this, the 10th day of September 2024, brought to you by chilliescruises and Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around. All right, bring you up to date on the trials and tribulations of the old fat guy here. I had a great day yesterday until after dinner last night. And then I started crashing, coughing, which I'm sure is sundowner syndrome, which tells me I'm not, my coughing is not completely because of the breathing treatments, but instead I'm still fighting the double pneumonia. A little depressing. And then because I was coughing so much, and then I had trouble sleeping. I finally fell asleep, and once I fell asleep, I slept sound, so sound that the cats couldn't get me up at 5 o'clock this morning, and I slept until 7. So I was 2 hours late in getting the show started and done today. So I'm started off on a bad foot to start with. I've had one major coughing jag this morning. So if I disappear in some of the show today for, 15 or 20 seconds, that's why. So anyway, all right, let's get on and see how well I can do today with the coughing. And I feel like I can cough anytime. So I apologize in advance for that. There we go. All right, so the lead story today, we've got to talk about Tropical Storm Francine. Should be a hurricane today. Technical issue for Radiance of the Seas. Clarity over food issues in port. MSC Virtuosa in the Caribbean. A grant awarded to PortMiami. Serenade of the Seas returns. AIDAprima fueled with biofuels and lots more, live here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today is National TV Dinner Day. Ugh. Not my favorite, and I'm sorry, but not something that I'm going to do today. I'm sure all of you at one time or another have had one of those turkey TV dinners. And I love turkey and dressing and mashed taters and gravy. And I think they have corn in them. So I'm okay with corn. But the problem is you put them in the, heat them up, and then it all tastes like cardboard. I'm not a fan of TV dinners. Unfortunately, as I was growing up, I had to eat them some. When my mom was a dance instructor, when she was gone on folk dance trips or conclaves, or literally around the world. She and my sister both were in that business. And she would leave Dad and I at home. My dad was, of course, totally permanently disabled veteran from World War II. She'd leave us TV dinners. Well, we quickly learned that they sucked, and we went out to dinner instead. So, that started a lifetime of me going out to dinner rather than cooking a lot. Now, I'm much different now with Amanda cooking for me. And I've always liked to cook. I've never had the time to do it all the time. So, if you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. All right, so I did not have time to upload pictures and so forth from various people that are traveling. I have some from Hot Air Tom, and also have some from Rob Stamos from Kentucky, from Louisville. and I believe there's some more from Rochelle out in Vegas. But I ran out of time this morning. As a matter of fact, I sent Hi Tom a message in the chat room, which some of you may have seen as I passed by it, and missed going live on time. I was a couple seconds late going live. So, all right, so let's get on with the business at hand, which is our lead story today. We talked about it yesterday. Well, it's continued to develop as expected. We have to start our weather report today, of course, with Tropical Storm Francine. Francine is gaining momentum in the Gulf of Mexico, could potentially impact cruise operations out of Galveston and New Orleans this week. The storm, forecasted to be a hurricane today, is expected to bring dangerous storm surges and hurricane force winds to the Upper Texas and Louisiana coastline, posing a significant threat to the cruise lines operating in the area. Francine likely to become a hurricane later today. Current location 120 miles south-southeast of the mouth of the Rio Grande, about 415 miles south-southwest of Cameron, Louisiana. Maximum sustained winds are 65 miles an hour. She's moving north-northwest at 5 miles per hour. In the Pacific, offshore of southwestern Mexico, an area. We have to start our weather report today, of course, with Tropical Storm Francine. Francine is gaining momentum in the Gulf of Mexico, could potentially impact cruise operations out of Galveston and New Orleans this week. The storm, forecasted to be a hurricane today, is expected to bring dangerous storm surges and hurricane force winds to the Upper Texas and Louisiana coastline, posing a significant threat to the cruise lines operating in the area. Francine likely to become a hurricane later today. Current location 120 miles south-southeast of the mouth of the Rio Grande, about 415 miles south-southwest of Cameron, Louisiana. Maximum sustained winds are 65 miles an hour. She's moving north-northwest at 5 miles per hour. Central pressures dropped to 992 and falling. On the forecast track, Francine is anticipated to be just offshore of the coast of northeastern Mexico and southern Texas through today and make landfall in Louisiana on Wednesday. Maximum sustained winds are near 65 with higher gusts. Francine will likely become a hurricane today, with significant strengthening expected before it reaches the coast. Storm surge warning is in effect for Highland, Texas to the mouth of the Mississippi River, including Vermilion Bay. A hurricane warning is in effect for the Louisiana coast from Sabine Pass eastward to Morgan City. A storm surge watch is in effect for the mouth of the Mississippi River, Louisiana, to the Mississippi-Alabama border, including Lake Mauritania and Lake Pontchartrain. A hurricane watch is in effect for the Louisiana coast from Morgan City eastward to Grand Isle. A tropical storm warning is in effect for Morgan City to Grand Isle, High Island to Sabine Pass, the mouth of the Rio Grande to Port Mansfield, La Pesca, Mexico to the mouth of the Rio Grande. A tropical storm watch is in effect for Barra del Toro to La Pesca, Mexico, Port Mansfield to High Island, Texas, east of Grand Isle, Louisiana, to the mouth of Pearl River, including metropolitan New Orleans, Lake Pontchartrain, and Lake Mauritania. Francine is expected to bring a storm total rainfall of 4 to 8 inches, with local amounts up to 12 inches across much of Louisiana and Mississippi through Friday morning. This rainfall could lead to considerable flash and urban flooding. The other two systems in the Atlantic and the central tropic Atlantic, an elongated area of low pressure, continues to produce some disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity. Environmental conditions appear only marginally conducive for some slight development during the next couple of days, but a tropical depression could still form during that time while the system moves westward at 5 to 10 over the central tropical Atlantic. You're looking at a 40% chance for development in 48 hours and a 40% chance over the next 7 days. In the eastern and central tropical Atlantic, a trough of low pressure located several hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands is expected to interact and merge with a strong tropical wave located between the west coast of Africa and the Cabo Verde Islands over the next couple of days. Thereafter, environmental conditions appear favorable for gradual development of this system, and a tropical depression will likely form during the latter part of this week while the system moves northwestward at 10 to 15 miles an hour. You're looking at a 30% chance of development in the next 48 hours, but a 70% chance over the next 7 days. In the Pacific, offshore of southwestern Mexico, an area of low pressure is forecast to form during the next day or two, just to the south of the coast of southwestern Mexico. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for some gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression could form during the latter part of the week while it moves generally northwestern near the coast of southwestern Mexico. Talking about a 10% chance of formation over the next 48 hours, but 60% chance over the next 7 days. Clearly a system to watch. This story is from Nate Valier in Juneau, Alaska. Guests aboard Royal Caribbean International's Radiance of the Seas had to cut their time in Juneau a bit short thanks to a technical issue that has developed and delayed the ship's arrival. Cruise line informed passengers that due to the issue, the ship would be late to dock in Juneau, arriving at 5:30 p.m. yesterday, several hours later than originally planned. The cruise, which departed from Vancouver on September the 6th, was originally slated to call in Juneau at 2 p.m. The ship was meant to provide 8 hours in the Alaska's capital city before departing at 10 p.m. However, Radiance of the Seas, which experienced a technical issue impacting one of its propulsion systems during a May 2024 Alaska cruise, experienced another unexplained technical issue on its current voyage, delaying the port arrival. Although a propulsion issue was not specified, ships experiencing problems with propulsion systems may not have enough power to turn propellers at full speed, meaning reducing speed and delaying arrivals into port. Sounds like another AIDAprima issue to me, but they're not saying that. The problem plaguing Radiance first began during a repositioning cruise from Los Angeles to Vancouver in April of this year, canceling 2 calls in an effort to arrive early in Vancouver to fix propulsion issues. Passengers scheduled to sail on the first Alaskan cruise of the season received word that their cruise was canceled. The current voyages is the last one-way trip to Seward of the season in Alaska. Radiance of the Seas is scheduled to depart Seward on September 13th for the last one-way voyage to Vancouver. If issues do not persist, the ship will complete one last round-trip journey to Alaska, concluding on September 27th and repositioning back to Los Angeles on October 5th. Just have to wait and see if they can fix those AIDAprima issues or whatever other propulsion issues it might be while the ship is in port and sailing.
Seattle is a beautiful coastal city surrounded by parks and mountains, and there's no better time to visit than the summer months. Embark on a cruise or explore the Emerald City in comfort with a mobility rental. All Seattle scooter and wheelchair rentals are 10% off until September 30th, 2024, valid for both cruise rentals and hotel residential. Just call Scootaround toll free at 888-441-7575 or reserve online. Use code Seattle10 SRN 11137 at checkout. That's Scootaround in Seattle.
Royal Caribbean International is gearing up to bring back one of its most cherished destinations, Labadee, Haiti. Labadee, a private destination operated by the cruise line, has been absent from itineraries since March due to escalating instability in Haiti. However, recent developments, including the return of airlines to local airports and an increase in peacekeeping efforts, have made the cruise line optimistic about restoring cruises to the Caribbean nation. The temporary suspension of Labadee's began in early 2024 when Royal Caribbean, as well as Celebrity Cruises, opted to cancel all visits due to increasing unrest in the country. Initially, the cancellations were planned to last only a few months, but as the situation in the country failed to improve, the cruise line extended the halt multiple times. In May 2024, the cruise line had suspended all visits indefinitely, leaving many guests disappointed. It'd be good to go back to Labadee. The story comes from Melissa Mainz over at Cruise Hive. Many travelers like to take a few snacks along when they're exploring a new destination, but cruise passengers are not permitted to take food off their ship in ports of call. Carnival Cruise Line has responded to guest concerns on this restriction and explaining that it is not uncommon no matter where ships are sailing. Recently, one cruiser berated Carnival Cruise Line brand ambassador John Heald and Carnival crew members because the guests did not understand that food is not permitted to be taken off the ship in ports of call. Quote, "I was victimized on my Carnival cruise," the guest claimed, noting that they have also sailed with other cruise lines. It is pretty normal to grab a few rolls, some meat and cheese, fruit, a cookie to take off the boat when you're in port. I was putting this in a plastic container when a worker told me I could not do it. He took the food and emptied it into the garbage, the guest explained. So this rude and prejudiced worker would rather waste food than me and my kids eat it on the beach in Cozumel. While the guests never actually asked a question, only explained their perspective on what had happened, Heald nonetheless responded with a thorough and considerate response. You cannot take food off the ship. Most places we visit have very, very strict rules about taking food such as meat, cheese, pastries, bread, etc. off the cruise ships. It should be noted that these rules apply to all cruise lines, not just Carnival. That the guests seem to indicate that this is normal to take food off a ship from other cruise lines is just totally not accurate. Some will have fines that you have to pay if you do it. Please do not try, Heald explained. I know you have children, but these are rules for everyone. Heald does note that the crew member did nothing wrong by simply throwing the food in question away, as it was now contaminated by touch and clearly could not go back on the buffet. Instead of removing food from the ship, guests can purchase snacks or lunch ashore or choose to return to the ship for lunch if they prefer. It should be noted, however, that fresh fruits and unsealed food also cannot be brought back onto the ship in ports of call. Foods that are sealed, such as Tortuga rum cakes, so widely available throughout the Caribbean, can be brought on board as souvenirs, but must be sealed at the time they are scanned through security when reboarding the ship. Personally, I think this is just another unfortunate time of arrogant Americans that think they can get by with no rules. And that's just not that way on cruise ship, folks. The MSC Virtuosa will join MSC Cruises' 7-ship lineup in the Caribbean for the 2025-2026 winter's cruise season. According to published deployment, the 2021-built vessel is set to offer a series of cruises from Guadeloupe, Barbados, and Martinique starting in late November 2025. Running through early April 2026, the schedule includes 7-night itineraries to destinations in the southern and eastern Caribbean, with ports of call in St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Martin, Antigua, and St. Kitts. PortMiami has been awarded a $19.5 million grant from the Resilient Florida program to construct an elevated berth 10 bulkhead system. The initiative supports Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava's climate action strategy and future-ready economic plan, aiming to protect the uplands from flooding and potential damage caused by rising sea levels. Funds from the Resilient Florida program will be used to replace the current shoreline at berth 10 with an elevated bulkhead, a stormwater upgrade, and an angled transition submerged tow wall. Royal Caribbean Serenade of the Seas has returned to Miami yesterday to wrap up Royal Caribbean's Ultimate World Cruise. As the first ever world cruise offered by the company, the 274-night journey sailed from the same port on December 10th, 2023. Sailing to the Caribbean, South America, Asia, and the Mediterranean, the cruise was also the longest ever offered by Royal Caribbean. Over the weekend, the cruise ship AIDAprima, operated by AIDA Cruises, made history by refueling with 100% renewable biofuel at the Port of Rotterdam. This refueling marked the first time the ship has used biofuel entirely from advanced waste and residue streams. Vero Energy, the provider of the biofuel, estimates that this initiative energy source will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by at least 85% when compared to conventional fossil fuels. Okay, guys, I was unable to pre-tape this as I like to do and put the music with it and all that. So you're just going to have to put up with me as we've got a new cruise to promote today. It falls into both categories, an MSC cruise and a solo cruise. On October the 20th, 5-day MSC Seashore out of Port Canaveral, $219 per person interior, $279 per person ocean view, $379 for balcony cabins. That's for double occupancy. That includes taxes and port charges. Solos start at $315, including taxes and port charges. In addition to that, it includes an overnight at Ocean Key. So, awesome little cruise on October the 20th from Port Canaveral, overnight in Ocean Key, and a visit to Nassau. And if we get enough people, folks, I'll go on this one. I have the time. So if you're interested, call me, 434-258-9264, and we'll get you hooked right up, and we'll all go on the seashore. All right. That's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. Let's go see who's fussing at me in the chat room. I have put my oxygen back on. I coughed a couple times during the show, but not badly. So we'll see how it goes. Paul Best says hi. Good morning to you, Paul. Glad you're with us. Mike's with us from the other side of the pond. There's Hot Air Tom. He's up there in Canada someplace, running around with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Hi, Chillie's Cruises. No Ken today. He disappeared while I was taking a nap. We crashed last night after Cagney's about 5:30, slept until 3:30, and then Ken went out for some hot cocoa. I went to guest services to register us for the back-to-back. No line. There was one lady in the atrium doing a word puzzle. All right. Well, hope you guys got all set up for the back-to-back, because that can be such a pain in the butt. Steve's with us out in Kentucky. Love his life. Good morning, Steve. Oh, yeah, and I asked Hot Air Tom if he had run into Suzanne Rager yet. She was, one of our previous cruisers, and I had to tell her that I wasn't going to be there. I don't know if she got hooked up with them or not. Gary Older Than Dirt says, good morning, all. Happy cruising, Tom. Steve says, we've got flights and hotel booked for our 10-day Caribbean cruise in February on Enchanted Princess. Enchanted Princess. I have not sailed on, Steve, but I hear it's a wonderful ship. There's sunny down Mississippi. Beautiful morning down there. Glad it's happening, because you might get some crappy weather here in the next couple of days. She wants to know, and I would be a suspect of this one as well. I agree with you, Sonny. Hot Air Tom, did you throw Ken overboard? Todd says, good morning to everybody. Amy says, I hope you feel better soon. Then I tell you what, Amy, this has been, I've been through a lot of battles with health, but this is just dragging on and on and on. And I think I'm over the hump, and then that gets set back again. I'm down to what, 10 days until I go meet Hot Air Tom in Boston. And I clearly want to do that. There's Ken. He says, hi, and good morning to everybody. And Hot Air says, nope, Ken's doing fine. Katie's with us. She's back at work after a weekend of celebrating her sister's 80th birthday. Yeah, we showed that yesterday. I took yesterday off to spend time with my cousins. Very nice, Katie. Kenneth says, yeah, we're doing good. We're outside in this building right side outside of our cabin, free internet. Oh, very nice. Emily's here, says hello, Chillie and the gang. Myself and my friend in Stockholm are interested in joining with you New York to Rome. Trip 2 people to your list. That would be wonderful. Just call me in. We'll be happy to book it. And if you see if your friend in Stockholm needs to book herself, or if you can book it with both of you, if that's the case, get all the information from her. The usual stuff: name, address, phone number, email address, social security. No, I don't need her social security number. Unless she's paying a deposit or something. Y'all have to work that out. Of course, it can be both of you doing it. What else do I need? I need date of birth. Oh, that's the important one. Got to have date of birth and address, phone number, all the usual technical stuff you need. Sonny asked, Tom and Ken, are there any kids on the ship right now? Are there any kids? Somebody asked about colors. So they're up in Canada. They're probably getting some colors up there. Hot Air says, Sonny, I have not seen any kids. Sonny says, no thanks. We don't want any kids. I agree. We had a question. If we got a balcony, would it be cooler that time of year? I told my friend that it's kind of springy then. It may be nice to get a balcony. Well, that's going from New York, and it goes a little bit in a southerly direction. So the end of March in New York to Rome, yeah, we could get into some nice weather, especially when we get to the mid. It might be a little cool, going across, but yeah, no, it could. Now, I can't promise this, of course, but it very easily could be nice weather once we get over, in the Mediterranean. A balcony would be so nice if you want quiet place to read during the day, enjoy the sunshine, watch the ocean. I loved having balcony on Transatlantic. The Transatlantic I got to go on. Hot Air Tom says some people read the food information in the daily newsletter and take food anywhere sneaking. Yeah, well, they're just asking for trouble. Hot Air, how was the hot cocoa? Emily said, thank you, Sonny. Ken had the hot cocoa. I was not with him. I had hot cocoa at breakfast. It was not hot. Oh, sorry. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, Sonny says. Thank you, Sonny. I always appreciate that. I just texted my cousin in Rome. She does not live far from the Rome port. She sees the people come in and off the ships all the time. Sorry about your cocoa, Hot Air Tom. Cindy, hi, Cindy. She says hello to all. Hot Air says bye, everyone. Off to see Charlottetown. They're in Charlottetown today. Visit to Anne Frank home and another lobster lunch. Awesome. Take some pictures, Hot Air. I'll use them tomorrow. Having a great time in the cruise. Tom is really a great guy and so friendly. Have a great trip, Hot Air Tom. I saw the Anne Frank Museum in D.C. Have fun. Lobster would be great. Yeah, me too. Stressing about this possible Air Canada strike. Have flights booked with them through NCL. Not until 9:30. Hoping it gets resolved by then. Yeah, 20 days. Yeah, I would hope. Roger says, hi from Atlanta. Good morning, Roger. Glad you're off on another adventure. Fly out 4 p.m.ish to France. Very nice. Emily says, thank you, Chillie. Thank you. You're welcome. I will book the both of us. Okie dokie. Safe travels, Roger, and have fun. Kenneth, Chillie, I gave a friend your phone number for the Rome cruise. Also, his name is Dylan. Okay. Oh, did I see I don't remember if I saw a call from Dylan. Terrific. I'll be more than happy to give him all the information and see if we can get him booked on that cruise. It'd be great to have a nice big group for that. So, all right. Sorry about that. See, when I lose it, and I couldn't even get to the mute button before. All right, that's going to wrap me up for today, guys. Thanks for being with me. As Sonny suggested, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. We have a pretty big audience today. in-house. We're sitting at 128 now. Of course, a lot of that's from X. We get a big audience from X when we get back rolling with them after delays. So that's very nice. Welcome all of you guys from X. Glad to have you with us. Come back anytime. Feel free to jump into the chat room, although my chat room does not see X posts. I do. So I can relate anything you say in the chat room on to everybody else. All right. That's it for today, guys. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas, just like Kenneth and Hot Air Tom and a whole bunch of people going on that transatlantic. Join us for one of these. See everybody, same time, same channel tomorrow. Have a great day.